The media buzzes out there, who will the Donald pick? He didn't. He told me this week he's narrowed down his choice to just a few people, highly vetted, highly competent. It could be Indiana Governor Mike Pence or former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Is he looking for an attack dog, or is he looking for somebody who can be president of the United States in his absence? Well, we'll find out in a few days. Wendy?
Yeah, that's the question. But Trump could still pick a surprise candidate. And for now, Washington and political experts are still playing the guessing game. Heather Sells has the story.
Donald Trump has just 5 days until the Republican convention begins, and many expect he will name his pick for vice president by the end of this week. Among the frontrunners right now, Indiana Governor Mike Pence and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is apparently still in the mix as well, along with possible surprise choices. Pence introduced Trump at what some called a kind of tryout rally in Indianapolis Tuesday night. He compared Trump to Ronald Reagan, as someone who connects with everyday Americans. Trump in turn praised Pence.
How's your governor doing, by the way? Good? Huh? I think so.
Trump told the Wall Street Journal this week that he wants a, quote, attack dog for his vice president, someone to help him ward off attacks from Democrats, the media, fellow Republicans, and even Supreme Court justices. In recent days, Justice Ginsburg has criticized Trump in a series of media interviews, calling him, among other things, unqualified to serve as president. Overnight, Trump countered, tweeting that Justice Ginsburg of the U.S. Supreme Court has embarrassed all by making very dumb political statements about me. Her mind is shot. Resign. Even Democrats have chided Ginsburg, noting that justices historically have kept out of politics. On the Democratic campaign trail, Hillary Clinton is making the most of her new high-profile endorsement.
She will be the Democratic nominee for president. And I intend to do everything I can to make certain she will be the next president of the United States.
The long-awaited endorsement comes after party platform talks, a process Sanders wanted to influence. And with the platform including a $15 an hour minimum wage and tougher restrictions on Wall Street, it looks like he did. But for now, with the Republican convention coming up before the Democrats, the focus is on Trump and who will be on the ticket with him in the race for the White House. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Well, Hillary was there with Bernie Sanders, and he has pulled her so far to the left. She's embracing a great many of his platforms, and he is an out-and-out socialist. He ran as a socialist. He declared himself a socialist, and all this business about free education, et cetera. I mean, she's playing by his playbook, and you wonder, I mean, is she going to just do that for the election and then swing back to govern in a more centrist mode? We don't know that. But she may be out on the campaign trail, but her email scandal was the subject of a tense hearing on Capitol Hill. John Jessup has that story.
That's right, Pat. Congressional Republicans challenged Attorney General Loretta Lynch for deciding not to file criminal charges against Clinton for mishandling classified information using a private computer server. And they say Lynch repeatedly avoided any direct answers.
One by one, Republicans made clear they completely disagreed with the Justice Department's conclusion, trying to get Attorney General Loretta Lynch to, at the very least, acknowledge former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton made false statements when she said she never sent or received classified emails.
At least acknowledge, as Director Comey did, that she lied.
And time and again, the Attorney General declined to take the bait.
Congressman, with respect to the director's statements, as I've indicated, he's provided really unprecedented access into his views of the matter, and I would refer you to them.
Lynch was grilled about the perception of two forms of justice, one for the politically well-connected and one for everyone else. She also defended her decision not to recuse herself from the case after a controversial impromptu meeting at the Phoenix airport with former President Bill Clinton.
Do you find it ironic that the last examination of a Clinton in this room, the previous one, Bill Clinton, excuse me, before this Judiciary Committee, not technically in this room, hinged on the meaning of the word is. Looks to me like this investigation is hinging upon the meaning of extreme carelessness versus gross negligence.
Democrats mostly took to defending the Attorney General and used their time to discuss gun and police violence, while Republicans saw an opening to show how partisanship played into the politics of the prosecution of former Republican Governor Bob McDonnell.
When you look at a governor of Virginia that you launched everything this department had against to destroy him and to prosecute him, can you tell me the federal nexus you had in that case and compare that to the federal nexus against Secretary Clinton?
Congressman, I don't have a comparison between those two cases for you.
Still on the hunt to correct any potential wrongdoing, Republicans have asked the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia to investigate whether Hillary Clinton lied in sworn testimony to Congress.
Pat, a lot of frustrated lawmakers in that hearing.
You know, they use this thing, optics. What are the optics of any particular move? It isn't exactly what is done, but what are the optics? Well, the optics in this, it stinks to high heaven. Just think what happened. They're investigating Hillary Clinton. The FBI is investigating. Okay. So in advance of their finding, the Attorney General comes out with a big statement and said, well, I'm going to leave the matter of Hillary Clinton in the hands of the people who are trying the facts, the FBI, and well, I will abide by their decision. Okay. A few days later, on the tarmac in Phoenix Airport, the private aviation terminal, here comes Hillary's husband walking across and gets into the plane, and they have a private meeting. And they said, well, they were just talking about New Year's parties or whatever. I mean, yeah, in your dreams. Okay. Now, on Sunday, the FBI questions Mrs. Clinton. Do they put her under oath, which they should in a testimony of that character? No, she's not under oath. Is it public? No, it's over a weekend, a holiday weekend. And when it's finished, nobody knows exactly what she said, but the Attorney General the FBI head comes out with a detailed indictment of her actions. One after the other ticks off the reasons she should be indicted. And when it's finished, he says, but we are not going to recommend any indictment or any prosecution on the basis of this. Now, as Randy Forbes pointed out in those hearings, they ruined Bob McDonnell. I was with the former governor yesterday, and I said, have you got your law license back? Yeah. The Supreme Court ruled in his favor, and he's been restored to all the privileges he used to have, but they raked him over the coals on much flimsier evidence than this. But she wouldn't comment. She wouldn't comment to anything. She stonewalled. And so they basically said the deal was cooked in advance. It was all set up before the before the FBI made its findings. She knew in advance what it was going to be. Her statement dovetailed into that. And the minute she heard the FBI statement in public, she said, well, we're closing down our investigation. End of story. I mean, it was kind of like, whew, whitewash. Done. But the American people, over 50%, say, we don't buy it. I don't see how anybody's going to run for president and be elected president under these circumstances. I just cannot see it. John.
Pat, President Obama meets with leaders in law enforcement and government, as well as activists at the White House, trying to find ways to stop the violence between police and minority communities. The meeting comes one day after an emotional memorial in Dallas, where Mr. Obama, former President George W. Bush, and other leaders paid their respect to the 5 officers who were ambushed and killed less than a week ago. Ephraim Graham brings us that story.
Often referring to Scripture.
Weeping may endure for a night, but I'm convinced joy comes in the morning.
President Obama delivered a message of hope at this memorial service, honoring the 5 officers gunned down at the end of a peaceful protest in Dallas Thursday.
I see people who mourn for the 5 officers we lost, but also weep for the families of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile.
Vice President Joe Biden, former President George W. Bush, and their wives also attended the service.
Today, the nation grieves, but those of us who love Dallas and call it home have had 5 deaths in the family.
The gunman, Micah Johnson, used a high-powered rifle in a one-man mission to target and kill white officers. The area is still a crime scene where detectives are poring over hours of body cam video. Leading the investigation is Dallas Police Chief David Brown, the man who's being praised for holding the community together. But he's publicly given all praise to God's grace and his sweet, tender mercy. And with that heart, he offered a moment of laughter at the service as he shared his love for his officers.
So today, I'm going to pull out some Stevie Wonder for these families. Until the day that you are me and I am you. Now, ain't that loving you? I'll be loving you until the ocean covers every mountain high.
The president's visit here to Dallas provided him also with an opportunity to meet one-on-one with the victims' families and to highlight the recommendations from his task force on 21st century policing.
The murder rate here has fallen. Complaints of excessive force have been cut by 64%. The Dallas Police Department has been doing it the right way.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Dallas, Texas.
Thanks, Ephraim. Well, stocks have closed at record highs in recent days, with the Dow Jones Industrial and Standard & Poor's 500 reaching new milestones. Both have come back from corrections earlier this year, and many analysts say the new highs are a bullish sign for more records ahead. They point out that the market looks healthy, with far more advancing than declining stocks. And Pat, they say even though there will be more setbacks, the market should continue to move a good deal higher in the years ahead. Do you agree with that projection?
I am agreeing because I am heavily in the market, and I think now's the time to get in, but it defies logic. All these signs are bad around the world. I mean, we've got excessive debt, we've got all these problems, but the market is just laughing it all off. I mean, there's some technical things, and especially these small gold companies are just roaring. I mean, it is an unbelievable bull market. Silver just crossed the $20 an ounce level, and silver's on a bull tear, as is gold. And a lot of people are doing extremely well.
Where's all this optimism coming from?
I can't figure. I just can't figure. But I'm in there with both feet, and I'm enjoying it.
In July, we're in the dog days of summer. Market's not supposed to be that great in summer, is it?
I like to play with these little penny stocks. It's kind of fun. It doesn't cost you a lot of money. You can get all kinds of shares for pennies. So I got a gold company I didn't know too much about, but it was just cheap, and so it was selling, I think, for 13 and 14 cents a share. It's now up to about 83 cents a share. You can figure how many multiplications that is. Nice. And you know, when you have a whole lot of it, it looks real good. So
it's just a lot happier when the market's going up.
It is happy. We're happy. We really, you know, people are feeling optimistic, but our resident guru, Drew Parkhill, I said, what do you think? He said, I think it'll hit 30,000 on the Dow. And we're in the final leg of a major bull market.
All right. All right. You heard it here.
You heard it here. So, okay. But I predicted, you know, years and years ago, gold was selling at $250 an ounce. I told everybody it was going to go to $1,800 an ounce. And it did. It did. And those that got in at that particular time made a lot of money. So it's crazy. I mean, I cannot understand it. It is totally illogical, but nevertheless, it's doing it. And there are many pressures around the world, but more than anything, I think people are looking for safety in metals, and they're looking for safety someplace. They can't get any yields in the bond market. The yields are pathetic. The Fed has forced all the money into the market because if you're going to try to get a little bit of yields to live on, you have to be doing something to get high-yielding stock. And there isn't any other way because bonds are just dead. And so the Fed is, in a sense, bringing this to pass whether they want it or not.